Well, joining me is the Chief Minister, and on the agenda, consultation on same-sex marriage. Mm-hmm. In a funny way, I thought we were ahead of the game, but it now seems that the Isle of Man's slightly behind the curve. This is moving on to having a church service and having that name of marriage in the title, isn't it?
Yes. This really is a culmination of probably 25 years of progress that the Isle of Man has made in terms of equality in these matters. If you remember back in the 90s when all this started, homosexuality was still a criminal offence, and in fact in theory attracted a life sentence for homosexual activity. You also remember just how bitter and nasty the debate was at that point, until we finally got it decriminalised. Now, since that time, the Isle of Man has made great strides forward in bringing in equality legislation on a number of fronts, to the point that when I brought the Civil Partnership Bill through, there was very little debate about it at all. This latest step is probably the final step now for genuine equality for gay people with the rest of the community. It also fits in neatly with the Equalities Bill, which I hope will be in the branches by the end of this year. And I hope sends out a very, very strong message that the Isle of Man is a truly inclusive, tolerant and caring society, which provides equal rights for all minorities and all elements of our community.
What protection are you going to put in, though, for heterosexuals who don't want, or certainly like vicars who don't want to do that service?
The legislation which we are proposing will be very much a reflection of what already exists in the United Kingdom.
So you're going for that, basically, the carbon copy?
It'll be pretty well a carbon copy for what they have in the UK. Which I think gives adequate protection for those people who have concerns in this area. And I do recognise that although I do believe social attitudes have changed beyond recognition over the last 25 years in the island, there are still strong views held by groups of people in this area on religious grounds, and I fully respect them.
I believe, I heard this wasn't exactly high on the agenda, but you've moved it up in the Council of Ministers. This has come back to the top. You want to get this done before the next general election. Is this true? It had gone off the boil a bit?
Well, it's not so much as gone off the boil a bit. We've just had such a weight of work to do. It's been a struggle to keep on top of it. And added to that, which is a mundane qualification, is we've had a shortage of legal draftsmen, and we've struggled to get legal draftsmen to keep a pace with the legislation which needs to be drafted. I have two aims in this last 9 months of this House, and that is to get the Equalities Bill through and the Same-Sex Marriage Bill. Right. And that's not just a personal ambition for me. It's something which is absolutely essential for the Isle of Man to protect our community, but also to send a very strong message out to all our critics, particularly now we have changes in the Labour Party, that the Isle of Man is a tolerant and inclusive society and respects the rights of everyone.
Have you got church leaders on side, or is this where the consultation is now
This is where the consultation comes in.
What's the Bishop saying, for instance? You must have his views.
I think in general the Bishop's supportive. I know he has concerns about one or two areas, and I'm sure he'll voice those concerns at the time. I'm not expecting to get 100% support for this, but you know, if you just take a look at what happened in Ireland recently with the referendum there, you know, a deeply Catholic country, one you would never imagine would take a lead on such matters. The referendum showed a 62% vote in support for same-sex marriage in Ireland. Hugely welcome decision there. It's enhanced the Irish position around the world. So even where you have the most die-hard conservative religious views, there is still a body of opinion which supports same-sex marriage, and I very much hope the Isle of Man will be the same.
And you must see what's happened in Jersey, which has come from behind in this,
yes,
to jumping ahead. They've gone straight for it, haven't they?
Well, they are hoping to introduce, and Guernsey are in the same position, although I think they've got a slightly different form of words in Guernsey. They're both hoping to have same-sex marriage in place by 2017. Now, if our legislation moves ahead, as I hope it will, we actually will come in ahead of Jersey and Guernsey in the time frame. Most countries now are moving in this direction. Northern Ireland, of course, as usual, is lagging behind, but most other jurisdictions around Britain and certainly in Europe. And of course, we've had the Supreme Court ruling in the United States fairly recently, which is in effect given the green light in the US too. So This is really just bringing the Isle of Man in line now with what is happening internationally, and also, of course, it gives final recognition to the right of our minorities, particularly the gay community, to have equal rights with the rest of the community.
Looking back to when you had the partnership thing come in, did you ever have any fallout or negative comments from it, or did it just disappear, the whole thing?
I was astonished, I have to say, with that. After the bitterness of the start of this debate, I was expecting some pretty strong rearguard action. There was very little comment at all from anyone, both politically or in the wider community, on the civil partnership. It went through virtually on the nod and has been used, I think, on a number of occasions by our residents on the island, been very welcomed, and I haven't heard a single adverse comment about it. So I think Manx society has moved on from those dark days, and I believe they will do the same on same-sex marriage.
And it's interesting because Lee Foster, who's done interviews with you about the whole thing in his time, was saying basically how it is important that the LGBT community are given the same access to marry, because obviously at the moment people maybe are now going across, Manx people, to get that. And is that actually recognised if they're married in the UK and come here, or presumably? I mean, I don't know.
I'm not sure what the position is on that, but you also need to recognise, of course, that there are members within the gay community who are strongly opposed to marriage, that they see that as a step too far for the gay community. So there is a degree of concern within the gay community, as well as perhaps within the wider one. We need to recognise that too.
And does it create any more extra powers, but is it cement things better, or is it no different except for you can go to a church?
No, it's just that.
Yeah.
You know, the real one I was concerned about was civil partnerships, because that gives legal rights to gay couples, something you never had before. And there were some pretty heartrending stories which were raised with me about people who were denied access to their partners in different ways because of the absence of any legal support. The civil partnership bill gave them those legal rights, and that was the main one. This is the final piece, though. For those who want to have a marriage, they will have the same rights as heterosexuals. Okay. And that, I think, has to be a positive step, and a positive statement from the Isle of Man community generally to the outside world about the maturity now which exists here, and the welcoming, embracing approach we have to all minorities in our community. And
the mood music within Side Tynwald, do you think it'll just go through?
I think there's strong support, certainly in the Council of Ministers. I've made it very clear that as far as I'm concerned, there will be no collective responsibility. There will be a free vote for all members on this, because I want politicians, whether they're in the Keys or in Council, to support this piece of legislation because it's the right thing to do, not because there is collective responsibility requiring them to vote. So it'll be a free vote on that. But I'm fairly confident on the response I've had so far that there will be a majority in both houses to see this to its conclusion.
Is therefore really the consultation just going through the process?
No, we have to go through this process. We do this with most legislation that we bring through. I recognise that there will be a body of opinion in the Manx community who will be uncomfortable with it, and I want to try and give them the opportunity to express their views. I respect their views, and also to, I hope by the time this debate is finished, reassure them that this isn't a challenge to established practice. This is simply extending rights to the whole of our community, and that has to be the right thing to do.
You need vicars to sign up for this. I mean, do you think there are those that are already happy to do this?
I think once the legislation is in place, as has happened in the United Kingdom, the clergy will, or the majority of them anyway, will recognise what is the right thing to do and do just that.
And you've got a year to get this on the books. When do you think it will be?
Well, I'm hoping it will be in the branches either by the end of this year or certainly at the start of next year. And then, with a bit of luck, we'll have a quick passage through both houses. And we have a limited amount of legislative time left. The legislative year ends in June next year. And then, of course, we're into recess for the election. So we have to get it finished by June. So it'll be a tight run thing, certainly with both bills, with equality and with same-sex marriage. But I'm hopeful we'll get both through in good time.